Hello, and welcome to Calm and Cozy Stories, a place where everyone can find calm and enchantment beneath the soft glow of the moon, right before drifting off to sleep. Tonight, we invite you on another journey through a captivating story, one that helps cultivate a sense of peace and relaxation. Before we begin, let's take a moment to gently prepare our bodies and minds for a soothing, restorative rest. Make yourself comfortable, and with each slow inhale and long exhale, allow the cares of the day to gradually slip away. It's not always simple to detach from the day's busyness, especially when bedtime approaches. But keep in mind, the less we worry about falling asleep, the easier it is for the mind to release tension. Let the steady rhythm of your breathing carry off any remaining worries, and let the story you're about to hear guide you into deep relaxation. Now, settle in and allow the moonlit atmosphere to softly embrace you. Enjoy this story, and may you drift into peaceful, restful slumber here on Calm and Cozy Stories. Venture now into a sylvan realm, a forest shimmering with an undeniable enchantment, a place apart. Within its depths, where emerald ferns unfurl beside constellations of violet asters, lies a sanctuary. Here, amidst blossoms exhaling perfume and trees of venerable majesty, mythical beings pursue their hidden lives. Their domain, a sequestered garden, is veiled by a colossal drape of whispering ivy, a living curtain concealing its entrance. Within, blades of grass, impossibly tall, and clinging to the moss-soft earth, ascend to weave their own verdant ceiling, rendering the arched portal beyond almost undiscoverable, a seclusion cherished by its inhabitants. Yet, despite this meticulous concealment, whispers of the garden's legend have occasionally drawn intrepid souls, adventurers who somehow navigated the path and circumvented the guardians stationed there. Lyra, the sentinel of the sequestered garden, possesses the enigmatic head of a feline, the vast, soaring wings of a falcon, and the powerful body and tail of a lioness. Her eyes, great spheres holding irises of molten gold brown, feature pupils like slivers of midnight, almond-shaped and profound. Though armed with formidable teeth and claws, meant to deter intruders, Lyra harbors a spirit that wouldn't harm a moth. Her gentle mien and kind gaze belie a latent power, the ability to weave spells that could unravel a human's very name from their memory, should she choose. Lyra stands as one of the earliest entries in the forest's chronicle, its bestiary. This tome, bound in aged leather with gilded script adorning its cover, rests protected beneath a glass cloche upon a stone plinth within the rose arbor. It meticulously catalogues the garden's denizens, their arrival, their unique talents, their current vocations. Lyra's designated charge, guardian of the gate. Behind the ivy's cascading screen, the archway itself is a marvel, wreathed in pink and white blooms shaped like tiny, delicate hearts. Forged from wrought iron, bent into elaborate arabesques, the gate displays intricate reliefs, a pastoral fantasy of rabbits, foxes, and deer, capering amongst twining vines and blossoms. While on duty, Lyra favors a specific posture, sprawled flat on her belly, forelegs extended, hind legs tucked neatly at her sides. Boredom, a frequent visitor, prompts languid paw-licking, luxurious stretches, or deep slumber, broken only by the nudging of a garden delling. Now, the dellings of the sequestered garden, though diminutive in stature, lead lives filled with considerable undertakings. These miniature horticulturists, their skin weathered like old bark, sporting snowy beards and distinctive conical caps, are the true custodians of this hidden paradise. They inhabit a tiny hamlet just beyond the gate, a cluster of dwellings nestled in the hollowed bases of towering evergreens, surrounded by oval flower beds. Their leisure hours are spent knitting robust sweaters and socks from yarn they meticulously spin from bamboo grass fibers. The Dellings toil ceaselessly, ensuring their cherished garden flourishes. This vital work includes overseeing certain mythical residents who feign industriousness while actually indulging in idleness. The gossamers, in particular, exhibit a pronounced inclination towards repose over responsibility. These elfin figures dwell in an adjacent meadow where larkspur blooms like scattered blue stars. Resembling fey folk, yet distinct with their pointed ears and 4 elongated dragonfly-like wings, the gossamers serve as the garden's assessors. They are meant to hover above the meadow, miniature clipboards clutched, reporting to the Dellings on the quality of the nectar savored by the garden's bees. Frequently, however, duty is forsaken for the allure of wild blackberries, plump and dark, ripening in thickets near the cherry blossoms. The cherry blossom field unfolds as a wonderland awash in pink, where countless petals drift from mature trees, blanketing the forest floor in a soft, rosy tide. This ethereal expanse is the favored haunt of Sylvana. In her true guise, this cunning spirit resembles a fox of elegant proportions, with long, slender legs, a sharply pointed muzzle, and a coat of purest white that gleams in the dappled sunlight. Yet, she is a mistress of metamorphosis, often shifting her shape. Sometimes, much to the Dellings' chagrin, she masquerades as one of them. Sylvana ranks among the forest's most ancient inhabitants. Her kind accrue tales throughout their long lives, up to 9 bushy appendages. Currently, she boasts 7, each a distinct hue of the rainbow, a testament to her immense age, a topic she politely avoids. Her very essence, her soul, resides within a smooth, round gemstone, radiating a warm, citrine light. This is her fount of life and magic, securely nestled within her most voluminous tail, guarded with utmost care. When assuming other forms, she wears it upon a white leather collar, dotted with tiny golden stars. A panda guise is a particular favorite, its black and white fur complementing the collar beautifully. In her vulpine form, she delights in idling beneath the cherry trees, meticulously grooming herself as pink petals descend like silent snowfall. 2 centaurs also call the garden home. They cherish strolls through the cherry blossoms during the early morning hours, when dew jewels every leaf and petal. Brother and sister, Corbin and Ilara, could scarcely be more dissimilar visually. Corbin stands a commanding 7 feet, possessing the glossy mane of a black stallion, sun-kissed olive skin, and eyes the color of hazelwood. Ilara, slightly shorter at 6 feet, boasts a fair complexion with cheeks like roses and eyes of startling aquamarine. Her mane, a cascade of platinum blonde, is worn in a single thick braid reaching her knees. Corbin and Alara fulfill a crucial, albeit infrequent, duty. They are tasked with discreetly guiding unexpected visitors back towards the arched gate, where Lyra awaits to gently erase their memories of the sequestered garden. Afterward, they observe silently as the oblivious humans depart through the swaying ivy curtain. Though visitors are rare, the centaurs approach their responsibility with gravity, bound by a strong camaraderie with the Dellings. According to Delling wisdom, intruders, particularly humans, present a significant peril to the garden's delicate balance. Humans, they lament, precipitate all manner of minor catastrophes, plucking golden blooms without a thought for the gentle ogres who cultivate them, trampling beds of scarlet poppies and pink tulips, meticulously tended by Asterius, the garden's minotaur. Asterius, a towering figure with the head of a bull, a long brown tail, and wielding a silver axe, invests years nurturing his floral charges, and sighs with profound weariness when careless feet tread upon them. The Dellings find it perplexing that some of their mythical companions share ancestry with humans, yet these creatures possess a deeper understanding. They recognize that most humans are driven by curiosity, not malice. Still, some Dellings ponder whether the mild-mannered Lyra remains suitable for gate duty. Perhaps Asterius himself, they muse, might prove a more effective deterrent. To deliberate such matters, the Dellings convene a council of elders, occasionally gathering in a circular clearing amidst a field of daisies. On this day, the question of Lyra and her role is revisited. One Delling, her pointed hat pulled so low it obscures her eyes, argues that the Sphinx is no longer fit for the task. Her attire, a white dress, yellow belt, and green hat, mirrors the daisy field's palette perfectly, prompting speculation among her peers about the intentionality of her color choices. Humans, she contends, have learned to exploit the Sphinxian weakness for riddles, striking bargains, passage granted for a puzzle solved. However, the elder presiding over the council offers a counterpoint. Perhaps the answer lies not in replacing Lyra, but in arming her with more formidable enigmas, true conundrums that would baffle even the sharpest human intellect. Yet, when the Delling in white requests an example, the head elder's brow furrows. Crafting rhymes sufficiently complex to thwart clever humans proves elusive. "Allow me," interjects a Delling in a blue tunic and black cap, stroking his lengthy beard. "Black is my eye, bright is my hair," he recites. "My feet hold fast within the ground. I adore the sun upon my face, and follow its journey round. What am I?" A collective shake of heads ripples through the council. "A sunflower," they murmur in unison. The riddle is far too simple. After thoughtful deliberation, the Dellings concede that their knowledge, deeply rooted in horticulture, renders their riddles transparent to human minds. Best to leave Lyra where she is, at the gate, concludes the head elder. all factors weighed, Lyra remains the most adept at managing the curious humans drawn into the magic forest. Besides, she alone possesses the unique enchantment to make them forget their visit, should the need arise. With the matter settled, the Dellings disperse, returning to their tree root hollows or their garden plots. When not luxuriating beneath the cherry blossoms, Sylvana fulfills her duty as the garden messenger, relaying the Dellings' directives to other mythical inhabitants. Her first destination, the topiary garden, where Triform passes his days, shaping dense evergreen shrubs into fantastic sculptures. Triform is, arguably, the most accomplished gardener of them all, a fact that might seem surprising given his composition. He possesses 3 distinct heads, one of a goat, one of a lion, and one of a serpent, each with its own strong opinions. Yet, the one pursuit they unanimously adore is gardening. When it's time to exercise his considerable green thumb, his 3 minds function in remarkable harmony. Indeed, 3 heads proving better than one, he conjures magnificent creations born from a unique confluence of perspectives. He cultivates towering boxwoods in varying shades of green, expertly sculpting them with pruners, shears, and immense loppers resembling giant scissors. His artistry knows few bounds. Imagination is his only limit. From solitary bushes, he carves pensive gargoyles, hunched contemplatively, fists propping chins. From broad hedges, he shapes jubilant trolls, their long, bushy hair standing on end in sculpted delight. His creations often honor fellow residents of the sequestered garden. One such figure is the colossal serpent, Ophion. Ophion's task involves preparing land for new plantings, achieved by plowing vast tracts of soil with its formidable teeth. Triform sculpts his serpentine friend, coiled into a perfect circle, mouth grasping its own tail. Adjacent stands a representation of Emberwing, the majestic phoenix, resplendent with scarlet and gold plumage, and a flowing blue crest like a bridal veil. Triform fashions the Emberwing topiary from a honeysuckle bush, whose red firecracker-shaped blooms and small golden bell-like flowers perfectly evoke the fiery bird's nature, particularly its tendency to combust. Portraying this avian marvel with red and yellow blossoms is fitting, as is placing it beside the serpent, acknowledging the ancient rivalry between these 2 symbols of eternity. On the subject of immortality, Ophion maintains there is room in the garden for only one creature embodying the perpetual cycle of rebirth, an endless loop of beginning and renewal. Emberwing concurs, having risen from its own ashes countless times. However, the phoenix refuses to yield the title of preeminent immortal to the serpent, citing mythological seniority. The truth, however, is obscured by time. Their precise origins are lost, tales consumed, according to Emberwing, by fire. The phoenix once possessed an ancient papyrus scroll, purported to settle definitively which creature held claim to greater antiquity. Papyrus, tea-stained in appearance, and derived from the grassy reeds along the Nile, served historically for paper-making. This scroll, Emberwing claimed, detailed its own genesis, crucially pinpointing the date when the Delling Council of Elders convened to address the best immortal dispute. They requested this document as evidence. Crestfallen, Emberwing confessed to having incinerated the scroll long ago during a heated argument with a griffin. The griffin, once an acquaintance, had declared itself the paramount mythical bird, shattering the phoenix's final shred of patience. Unable to contain the inferno rising within, Emberwing burst into flames, accidentally destroying the precious scroll clutched in its talons. How, Emberwing had argued before the council, could a griffin possibly deem itself superior to a phoenix? Griffins, after all, are hybrids, part eagle, part lion, not purely avian. Certainly, they possess keen intelligence, a trait worn plainly on their eagle faces, and formidable strength, courtesy of their leonine bodies and sharp talons. But this does not a great bird make, Emberwing asserted. A phoenix achieves eternal life. What could possibly surpass that? What of a serpent that achieves eternal life? The head Delling had countered during the meeting, gesturing towards Ophion, who had been silently circling the assembly. And so, with proof of its ancient lineage lost to self-inflicted flames, Emberwing reluctantly agreed to share the title of Best Immortal Creature with Ophion, contingent upon the council's formal acknowledgement that the mighty phoenix surpassed the griffin as a bird. Agreed, declared the Council of Dellings, and the case was closed. As twilight deepens, most of the garden's denizens conclude their labors. The sun has dipped below the forest canopy, signaling repose. Yet, for 2 inhabitants, the late shift is just commencing. Jotun, the frost giant, emerges from his shadowed cave as the celestial expanse blackens, pricked by myriad stars. A colossal figure sculpted from dark blue ice, multifaceted like a vast, expertly cut gem. Jotun possesses 2 horns of pale blue ice, eyes that glow with cold light, and a beard composed of glittering white icicles. He wields a sledgehammer of gold and silver, often employed to clear terrain for new seedlings. Jotun's cavern lies at the garden's heart, within a modest mountain whose solitary peak just crests the tree line, an ideal vantage for his duties as senior irrigation specialist, a title he bears with immense pride. Standing atop the summit, the frost giant inhales deeply. Upon exhaling, a cool, misty breath drifts across the land, dispersing thousands of minute ice particles in every direction. This frigid exhalation coats the topiary garden, the cherry blossom field, and flower beds bristling with lupines resembling blue corn stalks. Jotun's breath also blankets the intricate garden maze, its winding hedgerows navigable blindfolded by the centaurs, a favorite pastime of theirs. His icy sigh aids the morning dew, maintaining soil moisture through the night until the sun returns to warm the garden's flora. Occasionally, however, his breath proves excessively cold, placing delicate flower and vegetable beds at risk of freezing solid. This is where the frost giant's loyal, quadrupedal companion intervenes. Pirellia of the sequestered garden is a cheerful, 3-headed, fire-breathing canine with gentle blue eyes, a sleek gray coat, and a spiky dragon's tail. In ages past, Paralia guarded the gates of the underworld. Now, it faithfully serves as the garden's official warmer. Each night, Paralia pads silently amongst the plants, sniffing out areas threatened by the encroaching frost. Upon discovering such a patch, it curls up within it, emanating a profound warmth that radiates outwards, reviving plants, flowers, and groves within a mile radius from their icy torpor. On nights when widespread warming isn't required, Pyralia pays a visit to Lyra at the garden gate, treading softly on all fours to avoid disturbing the slumbering Dellings. Pyralia and Lyra forged a strong bond, rooted in their shared history of guardianship. The three-headed dog, after all, understands security intimately, having watched over the underworld's entrance for millennia. The two friends converse quietly beneath the arched gate, the red flowers overhead now muted to gray by the moonlight. Lyra rests in her preferred pose, forelegs outstretched, hind legs tucked. A new riddle forms in her mind. I sound like a place where roses and daisies might go to sleep, she murmurs. It is not humans who count sheep here, but dandelions, daffodils, and mythical creatures like you and me. What am I? Piralia's three heads grin collectively. A flower bed, it rumbles softly. As the two companions talk late into the night, the sequestered garden beyond the gate sleeps deeply beneath the star-strewn sky. Within it, contented little Dellings are nestled in their beds, dreaming of white lilies, murmuring streams, and amiable mythical creatures, resting peacefully under the luminous gaze of a beautiful moon. Kenjiro, a humble tiller of the soil, dedicated his days to the earth outside his hamlet in the land of the rising sun. One afternoon, a sudden downpour lashed the fields, compelling him and his fellow laborers to abandon their toil for a spell. With shared laughter echoing, they sought refuge beneath the sprawling ancient arms of a colossal cedar. Safe within this verdant sanctuary, dry amidst the drumming rain, Kenjiro and the others decided an early midday repast was in order. As crystalline drops pattered a gentle rhythm upon the canopy far above, they shared food and drink, slipping easily into the meandering currents of conversation known only to long-acquainted companions. While Kenjiro savored his meal, a diminutive butterfly, an ephemeral visitor painted in hues of sun and sky, drifted in from the deluge, alighting upon his knee. His hand instinctively rose to brush it away, but Elder Sato, his weathered face creased with wisdom, stayed his movement. "That winged jewel," the old man murmured, his voice like rustling leaves, "is held to be a vessel for the human spirit. When slumber claims us, our souls embark on journeys across the world as butterflies, weaving the very fabric of our dreams." A curious notion, Kenjiro mused. Belief didn't readily settle in his practical mind, yet he let the delicate creature rest undisturbed. Moments later, a downward glance revealed its absence. It had vanished as silently as it arrived. Presently, Kenjiro's belly, warmed by hearty soup and glutinous rice, fostered a deep contentment. Leaning his head against the cedar's immense, textured trunk, he felt consciousness begin to unmoor, carried away on the soft tide of amicable chatter nearby. Before he knew it, oblivion claimed him. After an indeterminate passage of time, he surfaced towards wakefulness. He savored the imagined pleasure of slumber beneath a sheltering tree, the clean, resinous perfume of cedar drifting on the air. But as Kenjiro lay against the yielding bark, a dissonance registered. The familiar cadence of his friends' voices, their easy laughter, gone. He opened his eyes to find himself utterly alone amongst the gnarled, serpentine roots of the great tree. No soul stirred nearby, only the persistent drip, drip, drip of rainwater cascading from leaf to patient leaf broke the stillness. Kenjiro surmised his companions had simply returned to their labors, leaving him to his repose. Yet, scanning the vicinity, he saw no sign of them. The rain now mingled with a creeping mist, a pale shroud that blurred the edges of the world, swallowing the distance. With each passing second, the fog seemed to coalesce, thickening its embrace. Kenjiro squinted into the opaque veil. From its densest heart, indistinct shapes emerged, human figures advancing towards him. A multitude, it seemed. As they drew nearer, their aspect dispelled any notion these were his rustic comrades. Such opulent silks had never graced a farmer's frame, nor golden pins adorned their hair, nor had their feet trod upon sandals of such intricate design. Kenjiro needed no further clues. He stood in the path of a noble entourage. Hastily, he scrambled upright, folding himself at the waist in a profound bow. The procession's vanguard, an elderly gentleman with eyes that held a lively sparkle, approached and bade Kenjiro rise. Such deference was unnecessary, the man explained, for they were emissaries dispatched by the Empress of the Whispering Glade herself, sent expressly to seek him out. They required his aid in a matter of grave consequence. Kenjiro straightened, absorbing the full, breathtaking spectacle of the assembly. Each figure shimmered in robes of crimson and gold silk, fabrics that whispered secrets with every stir of the gentle breeze. Their hair, uniformly raven black, was sculpted into diverse and elaborate coiffures. An invisible cloud of exquisite perfume enveloped them, a fragrance finer than any Kenjiro had ever encountered. Each inhalation filled his senses with a complex tapestry of scent. Warm cinnamon, pungent cloves, aromatic cardamom, the sweet breath of hibiscus, lilac, and jasmine, the bright tang of orange and pomegranate. It was as if this celestial aroma trailed the procession, announcing their regal presence. Kenjiro could fathom no reason why such an auspicious gathering would seek his counsel. A case of mistaken identity, surely, he protested. He was merely a man of the fields. Yet, if they had journeyed so far, he would be honored to offer whatever meager assistance lay within his power. The old man bestowed a warm smile, assuring him they harbored no doubts. The Empress had requested Kenjiro specifically. They beckoned him forward. Astonished, Kenjiro nonetheless found their certainty irresistible, and so he joined their ranks. A moment of privacy was granted for him to exchange his humble garb for robes of azure and silver they had brought, the traditional attire for a guest of the Empress. Clad in the unfamiliar finery, Kenjiro conceded that if a mistake had indeed been made, the intended recipient must bear a striking resemblance to him. The garments fit flawlessly, as if tailored to his very form. The procession then commenced its return journey towards the Empress, Kenjiro trailing in their wake, awestruck. As they walked, he marveled at the quality of the silken robes bestowed upon him. The material felt impossibly light, ethereal, promising scant protection against the damp mist, yet it cocooned him in a warmth surpassing any thick cotton tunic. Even the sandals cradled his feet with surprising comfort, lending his steps an airy buoyancy, akin to treading upon clouds. Lost in the sensory richness of his surroundings, time dissolved. Before he realized it, he and the regal company stood before the imposing gates of a vast citadel. Guards, resplendent in crimson and gold armor, swung the portals wide, admitting them into the inner sanctum. The Empress's chambers overflowed with splendors beyond Kenjiro's wildest imaginings. Wall hangings woven from the softest threads depicted pivotal moments from the kingdom's chronicles, their colors vibrant under the ambient light. Every inch of the floor lay hidden beneath plush rugs, sumptuous furs, or exquisite bamboo mats, crafted with unparalleled artistry. High above, the chamber's ceiling was pierced by numerous delicate glass apertures. Kenjiro envisioned lying upon one of the plush rugs at twilight, watching the first stars ignite, one by one, through those crystalline eyes in the roof. The Empress herself was draped in robes of the purest, most luminous cream-colored fabric Kenjiro had ever beheld. While his own borrowed silks caught and reflected the lantern glow, hers seemed to possess an intrinsic radiance, emitting a soft light of their own. Crimson threads embroidered across the fabric formed clusters of small, round lychee fruits, rendered with such succulent realism that Kenjiro felt his mouth water involuntarily. Then the Empress spoke. Her voice, though soft, resonated with undeniable authority. A mere whisper, yet each syllable carried distinctly through the hushed chamber. She revealed they had observed Kenjiro from afar for some time, deeming his husbandry skills exceptional. He possessed the precise qualities needed to revitalize a specific region within her domain. A small isle, blessed with fertile earth and diligent inhabitants, which had lately suffered misfortune. The entire realm, the Empress declared, would be indebted if Kenjiro would assume the mantle of prefect for this island. Overwhelmed and uncertain, he could only accept the honor with profound grace. A gentle smile touched the Empress's lips. Her judgment had been sound. Kenjiro spent the ensuing days within the palace walls, preparing for his voyage to the isle, nestled midstream in a wide, flowing river. The shock of his sudden elevation still reverberated within him, yet the flurry of preparations left scant moments for contemplation. At last, the day of departure dawned. Kenjiro, accompanied by several learned advisors, embarked on the journey. They traversed landscapes that felt like the breadth of Japan itself, rolling over verdant hills, passing through bustling cities and quiet hamlets. The final stage required crossing the expansive river aboard a magnificent wooden vessel, its sails billowing, creamy white like the Empress's own robes. Aboard the ship, Kenjiro finally allowed his thoughts to settle. Standing at the prow, he closed his eyes, feeling the gentle warmth of the sun kiss the backs of his hands. The crisp air streamed through his hair, loose strands performing a light ballet across his face. Avian calls stitched the air above the river's soft murmur against the hull. The vessel's serene, rhythmic rocking evoked memories of his hammock back home, swaying gently in the warm summer zephyrs. Soon, the island emerged from the haze, a jewel upon the water, and the ship navigated towards its modest dock. The instant Kenjiro's foot touched land, he knew the Empress spoke truly of its fertile promise. The earth beneath him felt springy, alive, damp with potential. Tall, luxuriant grasses carpeted every visible span, and majestic trees soared toward the sky, casting cool, dappled shade. His advisors guided him towards the prefect's estate, his designated residence and workplace. As they approached the dwelling, the advisors offered apologies for its humble scale compared to the Empress's grand citadel. But Kenjiro, whose world had never extended beyond his family's farmstead, gazed in disbelief. Smaller than the palace, yes, but the estate boasted numerous chambers replete with unimagined comforts, deeply cushioned chairs, soft rugs covering the floors, and a vast bed piled high with feathers. Kenjiro sensed deep happiness awaited him here, and his intuition proved correct. Though initially daunted by his newfound duties, over the course of his first year, he immersed himself in understanding the island's people and their rhythms. Through collaborative effort, they yielded the first truly bountiful harvest the isle had seen in over a decade. To commemorate this triumph, Kenjiro orchestrated a magnificent feast, ensuring every single citizen partook in the celebration. Thus, time flowed onward. 15 years he served as the island's prefect, patiently transforming it into a haven for its populace. The once wild woodlands were tamed, carefully cultivated into orchards yielding the sweetest plums, cherries, and pears in all the land. The farmlands, previously languishing, now produced more rice and grain annually than the islanders could consume in 10 years. Kenjiro diligently dispatched the surplus across the river, sharing the island's prosperity with the entire kingdom. As prefect, Kenjiro earned the deep affection of the island's inhabitants. He resolved disputes with wisdom and gentle humor. He orchestrated joyous celebrations for births, unions, and other auspicious milestones. And remarkably, he still found moments to return to the fields, engaging in the labor he knew best, nurturing the earth. Then one day, a messenger arrived from the Empress. An attendant, disembarking from a familiar boat, conveyed the summons. It was time for Kenjiro to return, whence he came. The Empress, the attendant assured him, would forever cherish his contributions to the island's flourishing, as would its grateful people. Sadness touched Kenjiro, for this place had become a cherished second home. That evening, however, his advisors surprised him with a farewell gala, surpassing all previous festivities. The food, the drink, the spirited dancing. It was the pinnacle of island revelry. When the last echoes of the feast subsided, and Kenjiro had bid farewell to the final departing guest, he sought his bedchamber. Sinking into the immense feather bed, he felt the mattress embrace him like a warm, downy cloud. Consciousness began to fray, drifting towards the shores of sleep. But before succumbing, he cast one final glance upward. Upon his arrival, he had commissioned one significant alteration to his chambers: the installation of small, delicate windows in the ceiling, portals through which he could witness the nightly emergence of the stars. Gazing at them now, he watched their distant, cool twinkling, and within moments, Kenjiro slept. The following morning, the Empress's attendant escorted him to the dock. The boat waited, a silent silhouette upon the water, poised to ferry them back to the mainland. Kenjiro took a lingering look at the island as he stepped aboard. The thriving orchards, the fertile fields, the prosperous village nestled in the distance. Then, the anchor was raised, the journey begun. As they pulled away from the shore, a fog began to unfurl across the water. It was dense, yet strangely, unlike any mist he'd known. It wasn't cool, but warm and soft, like being wrapped in a cotton shroud. Soon, the fog grew so thick Kenjiro couldn't discern anything beyond arm's reach, and so he closed his eyes. When he opened them again, the boat was gone. He was back beneath the giant cedar, his old friends gathered around him. He blinked several times, grounding himself in the familiar reality, running his hands over the soil still cool and damp from the afternoon's rain. One of the farmers chuckled at his bewildered actions. "Enjoy your nap, Kenjiro," he inquired. Slowly, hesitantly, Kenjiro asked how long he had slept. The farmer regarded him with a puzzled expression. Perhaps 10 minutes, no more. Then Kenjiro recounted his experience. The regal procession, the Empress's opulent chambers, the island prefecture, the passage of years, all of it. The other men listened, rapt, to his extraordinary narrative. When he finished, breathless, he asked them what such a vivid phantasmagoria could possibly signify. His companions were uncertain, murmuring amongst themselves, puzzling over the tale. Before their speculations could take root, another voice interjected. It was Elder Sato, the wise man who had spoken of the butterfly. His tone was as soft as wind sighing through tall grass. He explained that he had observed Kenjiro drifting off against the tree. At the precise instant sleep claimed him, a tiny yellow butterfly had emerged from Kenjiro's tunic, near the region of his heart. The other men nodded confirmation. They too had seen the butterfly, though not its point of origin. Elder Sato continued. Kenjiro's butterfly had settled briefly upon the cedar's bark before being approached by several ants. These tiny creatures had gently taken hold of the butterfly and carried it down into a small opening at the base of the massive trunk. Minutes later, the very same butterfly had reappeared from the hole and fluttered back into Kenjiro's tunic, just moments before he stirred from his slumber. Perhaps, the old man suggested gently, this might illuminate the dream of the procession, the Empress's domain, and the island prefecture he had just shared. Kenjiro and the others exchanged glances. The explanation resonated. There was one way to seek confirmation. Carefully, together, they eased back the damp earth near the cedar's base, revealing a miniature ant colony teeming with life. One section within this subterranean world struck Kenjiro with a jolt of profound recognition. It was a patch of earth, cloaked in vibrant green moss. The recent rain had carved a tiny rivulet around it, creating the perfect semblance of an island surrounded by water. And floating in this minuscule stream was a delicate boat, fashioned from minuscule twigs and a sliver of bark. With gentle hands, the farmers restored the earth, careful not to disturb the ants further. By now, the rain had ceased its weeping. After a brief, subdued exchange, the men dispersed, returning to their fields. But Kenjiro would carry the memory of that day forever. For the remainder of his life, he would recall with quiet fondness his tenure as the prefect of the island. Each day thereafter, as he guided his plow, scattered seed, and gathered the harvest, he would feel the sun's warmth upon his back and remember the impossible softness of silk robes. Every bite of fruit would taste subtly sweeter, tinged with the memory of celebratory feasts. And every passing breeze would seem to carry the faint, imagined scent of the wide river encircling his ephemeral island home. And it need hardly be said that before Kenjiro finally departed the shade of the great cedar that afternoon, he placed half of his remaining lunch near the entrance to the ant colony, a final, silent offering of gratitude to his hosts, the architects of a wondrous adventure woven from a dream.